Welcome, viewers, to an enlightening journey through the pages of the Bible. Today, we embark on a quest to debunk some common misconceptions that have shaped our understanding of this sacred text. The Bible, rich in its tapestry of tales, parables, and wisdom, spans diverse genres and centuries, making it a fertile ground for misinterpretations and myths. Our video today will shine a light on 5 such common misconceptions, debunking them with the power of context, scholarship, and insight. We will peel back the layers of misunderstanding to reveal the true essence of these biblical narratives. From literal interpretations to questions about relevance in today's world, we will navigate our way through these misconceptions one by one. So buckle up and get ready for a fascinating exploration into the world of the Bible. Let's dive into our first common misconception. Beginning with misconception 1, the Bible is literally true. The Bible is a fascinating tapestry of various genres. It includes history, poetry, parables, letters, and visions. Each of these genres carries its own style and rules of interpretation. Understanding these genres is crucial for correctly interpreting the scriptures. Take, for instance, the historical accounts of genealogies and kings. They provide a chronological record of events and people. These are often taken at face value, although the accuracy of some records can be a subject of debate among scholars. On the other hand, we have the parables and psalms, which are filled with figurative language. These are not meant to be taken literally. Instead, they use metaphors, similes, and other literary devices to convey deeper spiritual truths. A prime example of this is the story of Adam and Eve. This narrative has been a subject of much debate. Some insist on a strictly literal interpretation, while others view it as a symbolic account. The latter see it not as a scientific explanation of human origins, but as a profound allegory about disobedience, consequences, and the separation from God. This brings us to a crucial point. The Bible, while containing historical elements, is not primarily a history or science textbook. It is a spiritual and moral guide, using various literary devices to convey its messages. Understanding the genre of a biblical passage is like having the right key for a lock. It helps to unlock the meaning and wisdom contained in the scriptures. It helps us discern between literal historical accounts and symbolic narratives meant to convey spiritual truths. So when we hear statements like, "The Bible is literally true," it's essential to remember that the Bible is a collection of different genres. Each genre needs to be understood on its own terms to grasp the intended message. Literal truth in a historical account is different from literal truth in a parable or a poetic passage. Remember, understanding the genre is the first step to proper Bible interpretation. Moving on to misconception 2, the Bible promotes violence and intolerance. Now, it's undeniable that the Old Testament contains accounts of violence and warfare. However, it's essential to understand the historical context in which these narratives were written. Ancient times were marked by constant strife and conflict, and the Bible doesn't shy away from realistically portraying these harsh realities. But does this mean the Bible promotes violence? Not quite. The Bible's depiction of violence is not a glorification, but rather a reflection of the times. It's crucial to remember that the Bible spans many centuries and cultures, each with their unique challenges and ways of life. Let's contrast this with the teachings of Jesus Christ in the New Testament. Jesus preached messages of love, forgiveness, and peace. He urged his followers to love your neighbor as yourself, a commandment that extends even to one's enemies. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus taught, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." It's clear that the ethos of the New Testament, which Christians consider the fulfillment of the Old, is a radical departure from the violence depicted in the Old Testament. Furthermore, the Bible is filled with stories of redemption and reconciliation. It teaches forgiveness, even in the face of the gravest of sins. It emphasizes the importance of loving and caring for one another, of showing kindness to strangers, and of seeking justice for the oppressed. These themes are repeated time and time again throughout the Bible, from the Old Testament to the New. So while it's true that the Bible contains accounts of violence, it's fallacious to claim that it promotes violence or intolerance. Instead, the Bible consistently promotes love, compassion, and understanding as its core tenets. It encourages readers to seek peace, to forgive, and to love, not just those who are easy to love, but everyone, even our enemies. Thus, the Bible's core message is love, redemption, and reconciliation. Next, we tackle misconception 3. Science contradicts the Bible. One might think that the Bible, a book rooted in antiquity and science, a discipline based on empirical evidence and rational analysis, would be at odds. Yet many theologians and scientists alike believe there's no inherent contradiction between the two. Why is that? Firstly, it's crucial to understand the Bible's purpose. It's not a scientific textbook, nor meant to provide a detailed account of the universe's physical workings. Instead, the Bible is primarily a spiritual and moral guide, telling the compelling story of God's relationship with humanity. It answers the why questions: why we exist, why we matter, why we should strive for goodness. On the other hand, science seeks to answer the how questions. How do natural processes work? How did the universe come into being? How do species evolve over time? It's about understanding the natural world, its mechanics, and its phenomena. Take, for instance, the account of creation in Genesis. Some read it as a literal 7-day event, leading to conflict with scientific theories like the Big Bang and evolution. But many theologians interpret the days of creation as metaphorical or symbolic, representing periods of time that could span millions of years. This interpretation allows room for scientific theories to coexist with the biblical narrative. Moreover, consider the miracles in the Bible. Science can't explain turning water into wine or parting the Red Sea because these events are supernatural, beyond the realm of natural laws. They're meant to showcase divine intervention, God's power breaking into the natural world in extraordinary ways. Therefore, the supposed conflict often arises from misunderstanding the Bible's literary style and purpose, as well as the scope of science. When each is understood in its own context, they can function in harmony, offering us a fuller picture of reality. Just as a coin has two sides, science and the Bible provide us with complementary perspectives on life, the universe, and our place within it. They ask and answer different questions, each contributing to our understanding in unique and valuable ways. Science and the Bible offer complementary perspectives, not conflicting ones. Now, let's address misconception 4. The Bible is antiquated and irrelevant. Is the Bible outdated? Some may believe so, as it was written thousands of years ago. But let's delve a little deeper. The Bible, in its essence, doesn't merely recount history or dictate laws. It explores timeless themes: love, loss, forgiveness, purpose, and hope. These are universal experiences that continue to resonate regardless of the era. Take, for instance, the story of the prodigal son in the book of Luke. A young man squanders his inheritance, ends up in dire straits, and finally decides to return home, expecting nothing more than a servant's position. But his father, seeing him from afar, runs to him, embraces him, and restores him as his son. This story speaks to the themes of forgiveness, unconditional love, and redemption, experiences that are as relevant today as they were 2 millennia ago. Or consider the book of Job, a narrative centered around a man who lost everything: his wealth, his health, and his children. It's a profound exploration of suffering, questioning, and eventually, finding peace in the midst of turmoil. These themes are not antiquated. They speak to the human experience in every age. But how does this ancient text relate to modern audiences? Well, across the globe, countless individuals find guidance and comfort in the pages of the Bible. A mother grieving the loss of her child finds solace in the Psalms. A man grappling with guilt discovers hope in the message of forgiveness. A young woman feeling lost and aimless finds a sense of purpose in the teachings of Jesus. The Bible is not a relic of the past, but a living, breathing text that continues to engage, comfort, and guide people in their daily lives. Its stories and teachings offer insights into the human condition that remain strikingly relevant. So while the Bible may be an ancient book, its themes are timeless, its wisdom enduring. In the words of one famous passage, "The grass withers, the flower fades, but the word of our God will stand forever." The Bible's themes remain relevant today, providing guidance and comfort. Finally, we'll debunk misconception 5. The Bible is too difficult to understand. Yes, the Bible can be complex. It's a collection of diverse books, written in different languages, over thousands of years. But that doesn't mean it's beyond understanding. For beginners, it's often recommended to start with the New Testament, particularly the Gospels and Epistles. These books are more straightforward and provide a solid foundation for further study. Don't shy away from using resources like study guides and commentaries either. These tools can provide valuable insight and context. Consider joining a Bible study group or an online course where you can learn from others and ask questions. It's crucial to remember that understanding the Bible is a process. It's not about rushing through to the end, but about taking the time to delve into the text, reflect on its meanings, and apply its lessons. Understanding the Bible is a rewarding journey, not an insurmountable task. Having navigated through these common misconceptions, we've uncovered a deeper understanding of the Bible. We've seen that it's not meant to be taken literally in all instances, but requires awareness of genre for accurate interpretation. We've acknowledged the presence of violence, yet highlighted its depiction as a reflection of historical context, not a glorification. We've bridged the perceived gap between science and the Bible, illustrating how they can provide complementary perspectives. We've explored the timeless relevance of the Bible's themes and their resonance with modern audiences. And we've addressed the Bible's complexity, offering resources and guidance for easier comprehension. Our journey through these misconceptions is just the beginning. There's a whole universe of wisdom and insights waiting in the pages of the Bible. With the right approach and tools, you can delve deeper and find your own understanding. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe to Closer to God channel, and comment with your questions for future videos. Moving on to Misconception 7. The Bible is full of contradictions. It's common to hear claims about the Bible containing contradictions, but many of these apparent inconsistencies are often due to misunderstandings or lack of historical context. The Bible is a compilation of texts written over centuries by a multitude of authors, each with their unique perspectives and cultural contexts. This leads to some discrepancies in details, but these variations do not invalidate the central message of the Bible. The Bible's teachings about love, compassion, forgiveness, and justice remain consistent throughout its pages, providing a moral compass for humanity. It's important to read the Bible with an understanding of its historical and cultural context to fully grasp its meaning. So, while the Bible may contain some contradictions in details, its core message remains unaltered. In our next video, we'll continue to debunk common misconceptions about the Bible. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated. Thank you for joining us in this enlightening journey. Let's now delve into Misconception 8. The Bible condones slavery. It's a common misunderstanding that the Bible endorses slavery, but this isn't accurate. The Bible portrays slavery as a reality of the world during the times it was written, but it does not approve of it. In fact, many of the regulations it sets regarding the treatment of slaves were revolutionary for their time and can be seen as steps towards the eventual abolition of slavery. For instance, the Old Testament laws required slave owners to release their slaves every 7 years, a radical concept in a world where slavery was commonplace. Moreover, the Bible consistently emphasizes the inherent dignity and worth of all individuals, regardless of their social status. Jesus himself taught that all people are equal in the eyes of God, breaking down social barriers and challenging the status quo. So, while the Bible records and regulates the reality of slavery, it does not condone it. Instead, its teachings sow the seeds for the eventual recognition of all people's inherent worth and dignity. The Bible's stance on slavery is more nuanced than it appears at first glance. In our next segment, we'll continue to debunk common misconceptions about the Bible. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss it. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey. Moving on to Misconception 9. The Bible is a single book. Many people believe that the Bible is a single, cohesive book, but in reality, it's a compilation of 66 individual books written by various authors over several centuries. This collection of books includes a rich variety of genres, from historical accounts and poetry to prophecies and personal letters. It's a diverse library of human experiences, spiritual insights, and divine revelations. Understanding the Bible's complexity and diversity is crucial to appreciating its depth and richness. It's not a single book with one narrative, but a tapestry of many narratives that together paint a picture of God's relationship with humanity. The Bible is a collection of stories, teachings, and wisdom that span different times, cultures, and perspectives. In our next segment, we'll debunk another common misconception about the Bible. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss it. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey. Next up, Misconception 10. The Bible discourages women. This is a common misinterpretation that arises from selective reading and misunderstanding of cultural contexts. In truth, the Bible affirms the value and dignity of women. From the Old Testament to the New, women are portrayed as individuals of significance and worth. They are mothers, leaders, prophets, and disciples who play vital roles in the grand narrative of the Bible. Women like Ruth, Esther, Deborah, and Mary Magdalene are celebrated for their faith, courage, wisdom, and love. Additionally, the Bible's teachings promote respect and equality for all individuals, regardless of gender. Take Galatians 3:28, for instance, which states, "There is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither slave nor free, there is no male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus." This verse underlines the fundamental equality and unity of all people in Christ. The Bible's portrayal of women is more empowering than it is often perceived. It's essential to approach it with an open mind, keen to understand its context and message. In the next scene, we'll debunk another common misconception about the Bible. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss it. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey. Let's move on to misconception 11. The Bible is only for Christians. It's a widespread belief that the Bible, being the holy book of Christianity, is exclusively for Christians. However, this notion is far from accurate. Firstly, the teachings and stories in the Bible have a universal appeal that transcends religious boundaries. Its messages of love, compassion, forgiveness, and justice resonate with people from all walks of life. Secondly, the Bible has significantly influenced Western culture and thought, making it relevant to everyone, regardless of their religious affiliation. It has inspired countless pieces of literature, art, music, and even legal and political systems. Thirdly, the Bible's rich literary and philosophical aspects make it a fascinating study for anyone interested in history, literature, or philosophy. The Bible is not just a religious text, but a cultural artifact that reflects the human condition in all its complexity. So, whether you're a Christian or not, the Bible has something to offer you. It's a testament to humanity's quest for meaning, a mirror reflecting our strengths and weaknesses, and a guide leading us toward love, peace, and understanding. Stay tuned as we debunk more misconceptions about the Bible in the next scene. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey. Welcome to Misconception 13. The Bible is a rule book. Some people view the Bible as a strict set of rules to be followed to the letter. However, this is a narrow and limited understanding of this rich and complex text. The Bible is a vast tapestry of narratives, poetry, personal letters, and prophecies. It offers insights into the human condition, wisdom about life, and reflections on the divine. It's true that the Bible contains laws and commandments, but it's important to understand them in their historical and cultural contexts. They reflect the moral and ethical concerns of the societies in which they were written, and many of them are not applicable to our modern world. Instead of viewing the Bible as a rigid rulebook, we should see it as a guide to ethical and spiritual growth. Its teachings challenge us to live with integrity, compassion, and justice, and to seek a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world. So the Bible is not a rulebook, but a guide to moral and spiritual living. It invites us to reflect on our actions and choices, to learn from our mistakes and failures, and to strive for a better and more meaningful life. In our next scene, we will continue to debunk misconceptions about the Bible. Stay tuned, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey. Moving on to Misconception 14. The Bible condones homosexuality. There's a common belief that the Bible explicitly condemns homosexuality, but this is a complex issue that requires careful interpretation and understanding. The Bible does contain passages that seem to condemn certain sexual behaviors, but it's important to remember that these texts were written in a very different historical and cultural context. When we read these verses, we need to take into account the norms and values of the societies in which they were written. It's also crucial to remember that the Bible's teachings emphasize love, respect, and dignity for all individuals, regardless of their sexual orientation. Scholars and theologians have different views on this issue, reflecting the complexity and diversity of biblical interpretation. Some argue that the Bible condemns homosexual acts but not homosexual orientation, while others believe that the Bible's teachings on love and compassion extend to all forms of consensual, loving relationships. So, the Bible's teachings on homosexuality are more nuanced than they appear at first glance. They challenge us to engage in thoughtful and respectful dialogue, and to strive for a deeper understanding of the Bible's message of love and compassion for all people. Stay tuned for the next scene as we continue to debunk common misconceptions about the Bible. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated. Thank you for being a part of this enlightening journey. Moving forward, let's address Misconception 7. The Bible is full of contradictions. Some people dismiss the Bible because they believe it's riddled with inconsistencies. The truth, however, is a bit more complex. First, many perceived contradictions are often due to misunderstandings of the text or a lack of historical context. Ancient languages like Hebrew and Greek can be difficult to translate perfectly into modern languages, leading to potential misunderstandings. Second, the Bible was compiled over centuries by different authors, each with their own unique perspective. This has led to some discrepancies in the details, but these don't contradict the core messages of the Bible. For example, the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John each tell the life of Jesus from a different viewpoint, providing a richer, more comprehensive understanding of his life and teachings. Lastly, while there are some contradictions in the Bible, they don't undermine its central teachings about love, compassion, forgiveness, and justice. It's important to remember that the Bible is not a textbook, but a collection of spiritual and moral teachings, historical accounts, poetry, and prophecy. So even if you come across a contradiction, it doesn't detract from the wisdom and teachings that the Bible offers. In our next video, we will continue to debunk common misconceptions about the Bible. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss out. Thank you for joining us in this enlightening journey. Let's delve into Misconception 8. The Bible is against wealth. There's a common belief that the Bible condemns wealth, or that it views wealth as inherently evil. However, this is a misunderstanding. The Bible does not teach that wealth is evil in itself, but it does warn against the dangers of loving money more than God or people. For instance, 1 Timothy 6:10 states, "For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil." The Bible's teachings on wealth are not against the possession of wealth, but rather against the misuse or abuse of it. The Bible emphasizes the importance of generosity and using wealth to help those in need. In the book of Proverbs, it is written, "Whoever oppresses the poor shows contempt for their maker, but whoever is kind to the needy honors God." Moreover, the Bible encourages a balanced perspective on wealth. It acknowledges the potential good that can come from wealth, such as the ability to provide for one's family and to give generously to others. However, it also warns of the potential harm, such as fostering greed, pride, and self-sufficiency. In conclusion, the Bible's teachings on wealth are more nuanced and balanced than they are often perceived. It neither condemns wealth outright nor encourages unchecked accumulation of wealth. Instead, it promotes a balanced approach, focusing on the love of God and people above the love of money. Stay tuned as we continue to debunk more misconceptions about the Bible in the next scene. Now, let's address Misconception 9. The Bible is a single book. Contrary to popular belief, the Bible is not a single book, but a compilation of 66 books. These books were written by different authors across centuries, each contributing their unique perspectives and experiences. The Bible contains a rich variety of genres, including history, poetry, prophecy, and letters. This diversity gives the Bible its richness and depth. For example, the poetic language in the Psalms contrasts starkly with the historical accounts in the Book of Kings, and the symbolic imagery in Revelation differs significantly from the practical advice in Proverbs. Understanding the Bible requires recognizing its diversity and complexity. Each book, each genre, and each author brings a distinct flavor to the overall narrative. So when you approach the Bible, remember you are not reading a single book, but a collection of books, each with its own context, style, and message. It's like a rich tapestry where every thread contributes to the overall picture. The Bible is a rich tapestry of diverse books, not a single book. In the next scene, we will continue to debunk more misconceptions about the Bible. Stay tuned. Moving on to Misconception 11. The Bible is only for Christians. While it's true that the Bible is a sacred text for Christians, it's worth noting that its teachings and stories have a universal appeal. The Bible's narratives of faith, compassion, and resilience can inspire anyone, regardless of their religious beliefs. This is why many non-Christians study the Bible, not necessarily for religious purposes, but for its historical, literary, and moral insights. The Bible has played a pivotal role in shaping Western culture and thought. Many of our societal norms, laws, and moral codes have been influenced by biblical teachings. This makes the Bible relevant to all, regardless of religious affiliation. Its stories and teachings can provide a unique perspective on life, human nature, and the world around us. Moreover, the Bible's rich literary style, its use of symbolism and metaphor, and its exploration of universal themes like love, loss, and redemption make it a fascinating study for anyone interested in literature or philosophy. In short, the Bible is a universal text, not just a Christian one. It's a book that invites readers from all walks of life to engage with its stories, reflect on its teachings, and gain a deeper understanding of the human experience. So whether you're a Christian, an atheist, or belong to another faith, the Bible has something to offer you. Stay tuned as we debunk more misconceptions about the Bible in the next scene. Let's move on to misconception 13. The Bible is a rulebook. While the Bible does contain many laws and commandments, it's crucial to remember that it's not simply a rulebook. Instead, it is a rich tapestry of narratives, poetry, personal letters, and prophecies that delve into the complexities of the human experience. These writings encompass a range of human emotions and situations, from the heights of joy to the depths of despair, from the mundane to the miraculous. They offer insights into human nature, wisdom about life, and reflections on the divine. The Bible's teachings are meant to guide ethical decisions and encourage spiritual growth, rather than to dictate rigid rules to be followed without question. The parables and stories, the wisdom literature, the prophetic calls for justice, the reflections on God's nature, all of these are intended to provoke thought, to inspire, to challenge, and to comfort. They invite us into a conversation, a relationship, a journey of faith. In other words, the Bible is not a rule book to be followed word for word. Instead, it's a guide for life, offering wisdom and principles that help us navigate our way through the complexities of our world. It encourages us to reflect, to question, to wrestle with its teachings, and to apply them in ways that are meaningful and life-giving. So the next time you pick up a Bible, remember, it's not just a rule book. It's a guide to exploring the deep questions of life, the mysteries of the divine, and our place in the grand scheme of things. Stay tuned for our final scene as we continue to debunk misconceptions about the Bible. Moving forward, we tackle misconception 15. The Bible is a magical book. It's essential to clarify that the Bible is neither a book of magic spells nor a potion handbook. As a historical and religious text, it narrates the intricate relationship between God and humanity over many generations. Some people misinterpret and misuse the Bible as a magical book, leading to superstitious practices that are far from its original intention. The Bible is a source of spiritual guidance and moral teachings, not a manual for performing magic. Its stories are meant to inspire faith, provide moral guidance, and help us understand the nature of God and our relationship with Him. The miracles recorded in the Bible are not magic tricks or manifestations of supernatural power that can be replicated by humans. Rather, they are unique acts of God intended to reveal His character and purposes. The Bible is a profound spiritual guide, imbued with divine wisdom and life-changing truths. It invites us to explore the mysteries of faith, to seek understanding, and to live in a way that reflects God's love and justice. As we continue our journey, let's remember that the Bible is not a magical book, but a living testament to God's enduring love for humanity. Stay tuned as we delve into the final misconception about the Bible in our next scene. Moving on to misconception 16. The Bible is against getting tattoos. The Bible doesn't explicitly forbid tattoos. Some interpret a passage in Leviticus 19:28, which states, "Do not cut your bodies for the dead or put tattoo marks on yourselves," as a prohibition against tattoos, but it's important to understand the context. This verse is part of a larger set of laws given to the ancient Israelites, many of which were specific to their time and culture. The Bible's teachings on body markings need to be seen in light of the cultural practices and religious rituals of the time. In ancient times, body markings were often associated with pagan rituals and idolatry. The prohibition was likely meant to distinguish the Israelites from other religious groups. In the modern era, interpretations vary widely. Some see tattoos as a form of personal expression and don't believe they contradict the Bible's teachings. Others view them as a violation of the principle that our bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit. In conclusion, the Bible's stance on tattoos isn't straightforward. It's a complex issue that's subject to interpretation, and it's important for each individual to seek understanding and discernment. As we continue our exploration, let's remember to approach the Bible with an open mind, seeking to understand its teachings in their proper context. Stay tuned as we tackle the final misconception about the Bible in our next scene. Let's tackle misconception 17. The Bible forbids eating pork. The dietary laws outlined in the Old Testament, specifically in Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14, indeed restrict the consumption of pork. These laws were part of the ancient Israelites' covenant with God and reflected the cultural and health practices of the time. Pigs were seen as unclean animals, and their meat was considered unfit for consumption. However, according to the New Testament, particularly in Acts 10, these dietary laws are not binding on Christians. Peter's vision of the sheet filled with animals symbolizes the abolishment of the old dietary laws and the inauguration of the new covenant. This vision showed Peter that God does not favor Jews over Gentiles and that all foods are clean. This is why most Christians today feel free to eat pork. However, interpretations of these laws vary among different Christian denominations and Jewish traditions. Some Christians, like Seventh-day Adventists, still adhere to these dietary laws, while others see them as obsolete. The Bible's teachings on eating pork are part of a larger context of dietary laws and religious practices. It's important to remember that the Bible's teachings are complex and multi-layered, requiring careful study and thoughtful interpretation. Up next, we'll be looking at another common misconception about the Bible, so stay tuned. Let's move forward to misconception 18. The Bible promotes war. It's true, the Bible contains many accounts of battles and wars. However, it's crucial to understand that these accounts do not glorify war. Instead, they often highlight the devastating consequences of human sin and disobedience. In the Old Testament, wars often resulted from disobedience to God's commandments. These accounts were not meant to endorse or encourage warfare, but rather to narrate historical events and illustrate the consequences of human actions. Moreover, the Bible also contains many passages that emphasize peace and justice. For example, in Matthew 5:9, Jesus pronounces a blessing on peacemakers, saying, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." In Romans 12:18, Paul encourages believers to live peacefully with all people, as far as it depends on them. In fact, the Bible's ultimate vision, particularly in the book of Revelation, is one of peace and reconciliation, where He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. So, while the Bible does contain accounts of war, it does not promote war as a virtue or a divine command. Rather, it depicts war as a tragic consequence of human sin and holds up peace and justice as the ultimate divine aim. Up next, we'll be debunking another common misconception about the Bible, so stay tuned. Moving on to misconception 19. The Bible condemns all forms of entertainment. There's a common belief that the Bible condemns all forms of enjoyment and entertainment. This is not accurate. The Bible does not condemn entertainment, but it does warn against idolatry and immorality, which can sometimes be associated with certain types of entertainment. However, the Bible also encourages joy, celebration, and the appreciation of beauty, which can include various forms of entertainment such as music, dance, and visual arts. The key is to maintain moral integrity and prioritize one's relationship with God. In Philippians 4:8, Paul encourages believers to think about things that are true, noble, right, pure, lovely, admirable, excellent, and praiseworthy, which could certainly include many forms of entertainment. In Ecclesiastes 3:4, we read that there is a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. Therefore, the Bible does not condemn entertainment, but encourages us to enjoy it in a way that honors God and respects others. Stay tuned as we continue to debunk misconceptions about the Bible in our next segment. Let's debunk misconception 20. The Bible teaches that the earth is flat. It's a common belief that the Bible teaches the earth is flat. However, this is not the case. The Bible does not explicitly state that the earth is flat. In fact, some passages can be interpreted as suggesting the earth is round. For example, Isaiah 40:22 describes God as sitting above the circle of the earth. This could imply a round earth, not a flat one. Moreover, the Bible's descriptions of the earth reflect the ancient worldview and cosmology of its authors, not modern scientific understanding. The Bible was written in a pre-scientific era, so we shouldn't expect it to use modern scientific language or concepts. The Bible's primary focus is on spiritual and moral teachings, not scientific descriptions of the natural world. It uses the language and understanding of its time to communicate these teachings. In conclusion, the Bible's descriptions of the earth are not meant to be taken as scientific statements, but as part of its larger spiritual message. It's essential to interpret the Bible in its historical and cultural context. Next up, we'll continue debunking common misconceptions about the Bible. Stay tuned. Having debunked many misconceptions about the Bible, let's shift our focus a bit and delve into some interesting facts about this sacred book. Did you know that the Bible is the best-selling book of all time? It's true. Despite the controversies and misunderstandings, it continues to be a widely read text across the globe. Further, the Bible has been translated into over 700 languages, making it accessible to people from different linguistic backgrounds. This fact alone speaks volumes about its global influence and reach. Now let's dive into the contents of the Bible itself. The shortest verse in the Bible is John 11:35, which simply reads, "Jesus wept." On the other end of the spectrum, the longest verse is found in Esther 8:9. And here's an intriguing fact. The Bible was not written by a single author, but by over 40 authors from different walks of life, including shepherds, kings, scholars, and fishermen. This diversity of authors contributes to the richness and depth of the Bible's teachings. These fascinating facts add another layer to our understanding of the Bible, highlighting its unique characteristics and wide-reaching influence. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey. In the next scene, we will continue to explore more about this sacred text. Stay tuned.